There's a road in Sleepy Hollow that locals refuse to drive after midnight, not because of accidents, not because of crime, but because every few years, someone disappears there without leaving behind a body, only their vehicle, and one impossible detail: hoof prints. Tonight's story is based on a forgotten police report from 1987, a report so disturbing. The responding officer resigned 3 days later, and according to local legend, the Headless Horseman still rides. October 28, 1987. 32-year-old Frank Mercer was driving home after covering a late-night delivery route outside New York. His route forced him through Sleepy Hollow Road, a narrow stretch of forest locals avoided after dark. Frank didn't believe in ghost stories. He laughed when the gas station clerk warned him, "If you see someone riding in the trees, don't stop." Frank smiled, then kept driving. 10 minutes later, his radio died, then his headlights dimmed, and that's when he noticed the fog. Not normal fog. This fog moved, like it was following the truck. At first, Frank thought it was another vehicle beside the woods, but the sound wasn't an engine. It was hooves, fast, keeping pace with the truck. Frank looked toward the trees and saw something moving between them. A horse, massive, black, and riding it was a man without a head. Frank slammed the accelerator. The truck surged forward, but the rider stayed beside him, perfectly matching his speed. Branches snapped violently as the horse tore through the woods. Then suddenly, the rider vanished. No hooves, no movement, nothing. Frank almost laughed from relief until he looked in the rearview mirror and saw the rider sitting in the truck bed. Frank lost control. The truck skidded across wet pavement and slammed sideways near an old wooden bridge. Locals called it Gallows Bridge. According to legend, the horseman could never cross running water. Frank jumped from the truck and ran toward the bridge. Behind him came the sound of slow hoofbeats. Closer, closer, closer. Frank reached the center of the bridge and turned around. The horseman stood motionless in the fog, 20 feet away, holding something under one arm. At first, Frank thought it was a lantern. Then lightning flashed. It was a human head. Its eyes were open, its mouth hanging unnaturally wide. And according to police records, it looked exactly like Frank. The next morning, Frank's truck was found abandoned near Gallows Bridge. Driver's door open, engine still running. No blood, no footprints, no body. But officers did find something disturbing. Fresh hoof prints, hundreds of them, circling the truck repeatedly before disappearing into the forest. Police dogs refused to enter the woods. One deputy later claimed he heard breathing behind him, despite nobody being there. Another officer reported seeing a rider watching from the trees. The report was buried. Officially, Frank Mercer was declared missing. Unofficially, locals believed he'd been taken, just like the others before him. Years later, an evidence clerk discovered an unlabeled audio tape connected to Frank's case. Most of it was static, but near the end, a voice could be heard whispering, weak, terrified. "He doesn't want my head. He wants yours." The tape abruptly ended, and according to records, the clerk who played it vanished 2 nights later. Some legends are meant to stay buried, but if you ever find yourself driving through Sleepy Hollow after midnight and you hear hoofbeats behind your car, don't look back, because the Headless Horseman may already be riding beside you. Like and subscribe for more terrifying tales.